Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to get started in just about 1 minute while we wait for anyone else who might be joining us today for our NYLOP presentation and information session for Concord Baptist Church of Christ. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Rhonda Lee Davis. I'm one of the senior program officers here at LISC New York. It's a great pleasure that I welcome the panelists today for our discussion and information session for the request for qualifications for the co-developer for various sites in Brooklyn, New York. If you have any questions for us, please put them in the Q&A box. After the session, the panelists will take all questions. If you would like to ask your question live, you are able to raise your hand and you'll be unmuted and allowed to ask your question to the panelists for an answer. And of course, PowerPoint is not working, but now it is. So I would sort of take a moment to talk a little bit about LISC. In LISC New York, we are a 40-year-old organization that aims to build bridges and relationships to provide assistance to community organizations so we may better do the work of attracting resources and leveraging relationships across state agencies to access capital and to further development, community development. We partner with everyone willing to work around community development, and we are known to connect residents and advance these goals as we identify them. As I said before, we've been doing this work for over 40 years. We have deployed over $35 billion in capital to communities, and that has resulted in about $93 billion in additional public and private investments. What that looks like is 83 million square feet of commercial, retail, and community spaces, including schools. And we're proud to say that we have provided over 530,000 homes and affordable apartments in our time operating in the space. Particularly to New York, LISC supports local partners working across the state to create communities of opportunity. We invest heavily in housing and commercial and community spaces and provide specialized training like the NYLOP program and technical assistance for developers through an array of programs. Statewide, LISC New York has leveraged over $10 billion from an additional investment of $4 billion and have created or preserved over 50,000 homes in the state. We have also created about 3 million square feet of commercial space. We're proud to have created and maintained the New York Land Opportunity Program. As many of us know, there are MDOs and FDOs throughout New York State that have property, but lack the capacity to develop affordable housing on that property. NYLOP was created to provide the technical assistance as well as the financial resources to bring these projects to fruition. This current cohort of the LISC NYLOP program started in about February 2025, when our office issued an RFEI to MDOs and FBOs across the state. That year as well, we expanded the program greatly to include parts of Western New York and Westchester County. And in March, we welcomed 10 new FBOs and MDOs in the 2025 cohort. So that's a little bit about NYLOP as it stands. I'm also excited to pass the torch over to Mr. Jimmy Miller, who is the CEO and founder of Sincere Consulting, LLC. Mr. Miller leads Sincere Consulting, which is a small powerhouse firm that provides holistic strategic planning and development consulting to LISC New York, among others. He has served in a myriad of leadership roles across, including the Deputy Assistant Secretary to the Governor of New York, the Deputy Government Manager for NYCHA, and the President of the New York Housing Fund Corporation. Over the past 4.5 decades, Mr. Miller has led the development of over 11,000 units of housing at a cost of $2.5 billion. Jimmy?
Thank you, Rhonda Lee. If you go to the next slide, please. As Rhonda was saying, the program has expanded over the last couple of years. Initially, when I began working with LISC New York, the program was targeted for just New York City, and then it was expanded to Western New York, and then last year we expanded the program to the entire state. So you can see the current members of the 2025 cohort, and you can see that we have them Buffalo, Brooklyn, Rochester, East Aurora, Poughkeepsie, Manhattan. So pretty good group scattered throughout the state of New York. We'll go to the next slide, please. And as again, we have the members of the cohort, and I'm proud to say that one of our members of the 25 cohort is the Concord Baptist Church of Christ in Brooklyn. And go back to the other slide, Pastor, right? Go backwards. And we have with us here today the Reverend Dr. Gary B. Simpson. The Reverend Dr. Simpson, he's the senior pastor at the Concord Baptist Church of Christ in Brooklyn. And he has been doing this responding to God's call since he was a teenager. And he began preaching sermons at 15. And he was ordained, as you can see, as a pastor at the age of 20. So as you can see, this has been a lifelong commitment for the Reverend Dr. Simpson. Reverend Dr. Simpson, he's a graduated Alpha Kappa from Denison University with a BA in Religion and Black Studies. He earned his Master of Divinity from Union Theological Seminary and Doctor of Ministry from the United Theological Seminary. And he became senior pastor at Concord Church in 1990. And he has made significant contributions to his community. In 2002, he established a pastoral residency program with the Lilly Endowment to support young seminary graduates. He currently serves as an associate professor of preaching and pastoral formation, and he's been a visiting professor at several prestigious seminaries, including Union Theological Seminary and the Harvard Divinity School. Currently, he directs the compelling preaching initiative of the Progressive National Baptist Convention, a grant program of the Lilly Foundation that equips young pastors. So again, we are very happy to have been working with the church over the last couple of months. I've had them bring their ideas to concept, and then I bring to you the Reverend Dr. Gary B. Simpson.
So Simpson is actually trying to join. I'm going to go ahead. My name is Martin Robertson. I'm the facilities director for Concord Baptist Church. He may be able to jump on and fill in, but just to keep it moving, I'll speak a little bit about what Concord is looking for in a development partner. We seek one who has the expertise in matched by a genuine commitment to community impact. Again, Concord, for nearly 178 years, has invested in initiatives that uplift neighbors and strengthen families and expand the community. And any partnership must honor that legacy while helping to shape the next chapter as we move forward. At the heart of this collaboration, we believe it's in alignment with our vision. It has to be aligned with our vision, which is a community of friends witnessing for Christ. This means that we're looking for a partner who values dignity in housing, approaches this development project with integrity, and truly understands that at the heart of this project, it's more than just bricks and permits, but it is a part of our ministry in motion. The right partner here would be able to demonstrate the, I would say, cultural competency and transparency, and a willingness to engage the surrounding community with respect and purpose. Again, it's not just about throwing up a building. We're looking to positively impact our community, which is also why we're building the building in the first place. Concord is particularly interested in developers with a proven ability to deliver thoughtful design, something that's financially sound for the community as a whole, as well as those that would be living and partaking in the housing there. This is a supportive housing initiative, and it serves individuals who possibly that may be at risk, maybe homelessness, a gambit of other opportunities where we can positively impact the building. It's important that this collaborative spirit of partnership be prepared to listen, advise, and also co-create in the development that reflects both the professional excellence that one would expect when collaborating, but also a faith-informed service. I think simply put, if I may, we're not searching for someone to just build on our land, but we are seeking a partner to help build something that's going to be a lasting staple in the community. And if your work is driven by both competency and a heart for the community, then we're definitely looking forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, as you can see here, the group has expressed their desires, not just looking for any developer, not just looking to build any housing, but they're looking to build housing that really enhances the value of their community. So I think that's something important for us to keep in mind. I'm not going to get too deep into the project plan. I'll leave that up to our architect. But again, the concept plan that we developed to date calls for 42 or more units and 1,000 square feet of community space. It's focused on supportive housing for people at risk of homelessness. And you can see there are multiple sites here. Again, I'm not going to go into those. I'll leave that to Andrew. He can go over those when he discusses the concept plan. But this is in the broad stroke. This is the beginning of the project plan. Next slide, please. Again, under the NYLOP program, LISC New York provides technical expertise to the faith-based organizations and mission-driven organizations so that they can take their ideas and form a concept and then develop affordable housing in their communities. So that technical assistance is provided to a team of experts that include myself at Sincere. It includes Jason LeBay and his team from Goldstein and Hall, and it includes Andrew Knox and his team from ESKW Architects. So I'm going to interview Andrew real quick. I've been working with Andrew for the last 2 years, and he's a joy to work with. Andrew joined ESKW in 1991, became a partner in 1989, and so for more than 30 years, he's been focusing on housing, shelter, and community facilities for nonprofits. So this is definitely in projects this type is definitely in Andrew's and his firm's wheelhouse. He has a collaborative approach that balances mission, funding, regulations, and constructability. He's a fellow of AIA, and his work has been recognized by AIA, ULI, New York, Sarah, the Boston Society of Architects, SHNNY, and ANHD. Andrew holds a Master's of Architect from Yale, and he served in leadership roles, including co-chair of AIA New York Housing Committee, and he currently advises mission-driven and faith-based clients through LISC New York and serves on the board of Bricks and Mortals. Again, I'll turn this over to my colleague here, Andrew Knopp.
Hi, thank you, Jimmy. Great. We were brought on to work with LISC and Concord Baptist Church as to develop a test fit to sort of establish what can be built on the site. Our criteria was basically one, it had to be as of right from a zoning point of view. What does the zoning allow you to build? The second thing is we spent quite a lot of time working with the church to develop what is the direction of the programming that they want to have for the church, which, as you heard, it's supportive housing. It could also be an affordable housing component mixed in with that. And then were also looking for some more community facility space. And then the third thing is we really look for within what we design or as a develop as a test fit, it's not design, what is constructible, it's economically constructible, and we try to work at the same time also what is fundable with Jimmy and Sincere. Well, what can be of scale and of size that can actually get funded. So following those criteria, we've come up with this test fit. Obviously, as a developer, you will work with Concord Baptist Church yourself to figure out exactly what you want and what they want to do. But this is the test fit that's sort of like a bare minimum of what they're looking for. Okay, so the site's in Brooklyn, as you know. The church, you can see in this photograph, the Google aerial view, the church is the red dot, and that's 833 Marcy Avenue, and that's the main building. And of that main building, they were doing a small addition, or not an addition, we're repurposing some of the building that's on the bottom of that, just underneath the words where it says Concord Baptist Church of Christ is sort of a white area. That's a flat roof. Underneath that is a structure, which I'll show you in another photograph. It's within that structure that we're that we proposed putting supportive housing. And then the other site is on the top of is above is the two blue dots, or sort of dark blue dots and the light blue dots. Those are 3 lots that are currently owned by the church. 2 of them, the dark blue ones, are used for parking, which was required with the old zoning, but it's not required with the new zoning. And so we're proposed, or the church asked us to develop those two dark dots into housing. And then the light blue dot is an existing building, which would get renovated to repurpose the housing there. Next slide, please. So here are the 2 images. The image on the left is where those blue dots were. That red building is an existing 3-story building with a C of O. It currently calls out for 4 apartments within it. I don't believe it's currently occupied with apartments, but that's there, and that can be repurposed into housing again. And then to the right of that, you can see a small parking garage, and then beyond that are some trees. The small parking garage is community facility, will be turned into a 1,000-foot community facility space, and beyond that, where the trees are, is where we put housing, a housing structure. The image on the right is the church itself. That's the mass of the building to the left beyond the campanile, the tower. The stuff to the right of the tower, right behind where the Marcy Avenue sign is, that's currently where there's a church and some community facility spaces that the church uses. The school, the community facility spaces, sort of teaching spaces. That in those 4 floors will be, that looks like 3, but there's also a ground floor underneath that, would be converted into housing, and the interior would be gutted out, and then they'd put housing in there. Next slide, please. So this is a rendering of that building where the blue dots were. You can see behind the tree is there's a red building, and that's the existing 2-story or 3-story building that would be converted back into housing. And to the right is sort of a concept of what our massing gets you. And you can see the white part of the building with the evenly spaced windows. That's the community facility part. Then the red brick and the sort of towery part of the building to the right is all part of the housing would be over there. Next slide. This is the test fit for that particular building. You can see the big blue the blue part or the columns that are in blue. That's a description of the it's called affordable housing or senior housing use group 2. That is the highest and best FAR for the site, a floor area ratio. And from that, you end up with 14 studios and 6 one-bedrooms. The greenish set of columns is a brief description of the community facility building. That's the white building that was in the elevation I showed you, and that's about 1,000 square feet of community facility. And then the pinkish salmon color is a brief summary of the existing 3-story building, which has 4 one-bedrooms in it, as what you could get into there. So this gets you a total of 23 apartments here. It's a small, not a very large development, but it is maximizing the zoning of the zoning on the site. It's an R6B, which means it's sort of a contextual site, low-rise contextual site, which is very appropriate for the neighborhood it's in. So next slide. Okay, this is a summary of the interior build out on the church itself on 833 Marcy Avenue. And you can see again under the blue, there's a total of 19 units, 14 studios and 3 one-bedrooms. 16 studios and 3 one-bedrooms, 19 units. And then there's also a very small amount of community facility space left on the ground floor. There's a whole gym in that building, but it's in the cellar level, and therefore it doesn't count for zoning floor area, and we're not really messing with that too much. This is the part of the building, the part of the community facility part of this building, or the gym part, public services stuff, the non-sanctuary part that we're working with is the part that are above the basement level and up, which can be converted to residential, to housing. And then you can see in the salmon colored, there's what is that, about 40,000 square feet, zoning square feet of church. That's the sanctuary part that's remaining, and we're not messing with that. So this is basically the summary. These 2 sites together is 19 and 23 is what, 42 units. Again, with your discussion with the church, you could change the kind of units they are. You could have more affordable, etc., depending on whatever your development is. So this is, I think, my last slide, correct? Next one is Jason. Yeah, go for it.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. So my name is Jason Labate. As Jimmy has alluded to, I am a partner at Goldstein Hall. We are a law firm that specializes in affordable housing and community development. We've been working with the LISC NYLOP program since its inception, I think almost 10 years ago at this point. We serve as the legal technical advisors. So we will assist in reviewing candidates for the program with regard, and then ultimately participants in the program with regard to their organizational readiness. So what their governance looks like. We assist in obtaining and reviewing title reports to ensure that legally they own the property and what uses are permitted. And then we work with them, the participants, and Jimmy and ESKW and LISC, to draft the RFQ that you all are reviewing to identify what the participant is looking to achieve and what is required from the development partner. We will also help in reviewing the submissions in response to that RFQ. Next slide. So this is probably going to make your eyes cross and your head explode, so we don't have to spend too much time on it. But this is an example in case our audience and potential respondents have not seen an org chart with LITEC funding that includes a faith-based organization or the standard sort of NYLOP project. You can see here that it contemplates a ground lease. I don't believe that Concord is requesting a ground lease. It would be helpful in your responses to identify whether or not you are open to a ground lease structure. Many of our faith-based organizations prefer a ground lease, but we are also sensitive to the complexities that it adds and cost to development. So working from the top, you can see here, there's the property, which this ground lease model is owned by Concord, or generally the faith-based organization, which is then leased to the leasehold owner. Here it's the LLC. In practicality, there would be a HDFC, a Housing Development Fund Corporation, likely as the leasee or the tenant, which would then enter into a nominee agreement with the LLC. You can see that there's a development agreement with the developer for the development of the property with that owner. It is conceivable and probable that in that development entity is also the faith-based organization, as they will be assisting or likely to assist with gaining support and approvals on working on design. And so it would be right and proper for them to be in that entity and receive some of the developer's fee consideration. And this is one of the questions you'll see in the RFQ. Working down, you'll see this contemplates a tax credit investor, a special member that's usually in there for syndicating purposes and control. And then the managing member, which as we go down, includes a development entity, which is owned by the development partner as well as the FBO here, Concord. In your responses, right, it will request that you indicate whether you are open to ownership by Concord in the project, which is an expectation here. And if there is, in addition to the space that they're requesting back and the payment of the appraised value of the property, to share in the developer's fee. And so it would necessitate this structure. The last thing I want to highlight is, as a religious organization in New York State, any real property transaction, or most, and this one in particular, will require Religious Corporations Law Section 12 and Not-for-Profit Corporations Law Section 510 and 511 approvals. And that will require that this transaction, A, be in the best interest of the church, and B, that the consideration be fair and reasonable, which essentially means that the appraised value will be paid, and that there is effectively no risk at the time of transfer of the property to the project that those monies will be paid. And I think that's it for me. I am happy to answer any questions at the end.
Thank you, Jason. I'm going to get into the RFQ itself now. As you can see on the slide, the submission date is February 23rd, 2026. I believe the time is 3 p.m. local time. We hope to have a selection of developer by March 2026. And then we've been negotiating an exclusivity agreement between the selected co-developer and the church, again, hopefully in March. And that exclusivity period is usually 120 days. And hopefully at the end of that exclusivity period, we'll have an MDA or development agreement between the two parties. And we're estimating that to be on or around August of 2020.
I should say 2020.
I should say 2026, not 2027. So we'll apologize for the error. Next slide, please. Again, talked about these different properties earlier. You can see there are 4, I think, lots in the area of view. Next slide, please. Again, you can see that the approach taken by NRQ is that, as Andrew brought up, what he's done is just the concept plan of the maximum developability of that site based upon as a right zoning overlaid by what we think can and cannot be built financially. So the co-developer will help the church refine this site plan as well as through the exclusivity period, determine the overall viability of the plan. Provide the guarantees necessary, the customary guarantees for completion and operation and compliance, and be responsive to the community as church said earlier. They're not just looking to build housing, looking to build housing that is adds value to the community. And again, Jason just went over the typical organizational structure. And again, the co-developer will work with our legal team and with the church to come up with an appropriate legal structure. Next slide, please. The RFQ again lays out the minimum requirements, 5 years of experience, 2 or more projects in that time period, and experience with debt and equity and government grants, and then experience with transitioning ownership and control of the enterprise to the church, particularly looking for right of refusal at the end of 15 years. Next slide. The evaluation criteria is also laid out in the RFQ, looking at the overall completeness of the response you give us, looking at your past experience, looking at your working with biotech and state and local funding sources, and looking at the experience of your key team members. Next slide. Again, the dates we talked about earlier, most important of those being the due date, February 23rd, 2026. The date for submitting questions is already, it will be expiring on Friday the 13th. That will be your lucky day to get your questions in, and then we will respond to those questions by Wednesday the 18th, and then your responses will be due again Monday 23rd, no later than 3 p.m. And that's a hard and fast date. There'll be no exceptions to that date. Next slide, please. All right, so that is the end of our presentation. I'll turn this back over to Rhonda Lee.
Thanks, Jimmy. I do see that Pastor Simpson has joined us. I'm not sure if they'd like to get off mute and just say a few words.
I will. I hope I have done that. And thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for LISC for giving us this opportunity to share this vision with potential developers. I came in when Martin Robertson was speaking. I think he has said a lot, but I want to echo what he said and support that wholeheartedly. We are an anchor in this community, have been on that corner since 1940 or so, 1938 or so, and we are committed to the work that we do to ground and to give the people of Bedford-Stuyvesant community all of the possibilities of living well in New York. We think that this housing project adds to the things that we have done. Adjacent to the church is a nursing home that is operating well and doing very well, and behind it a 202 project of seniors housing. We see this housing as a number one, affordable housing as one of the number one issues of our city right now, and we would love to be a part of that and add our commitment to the strength of Bedford-Stuyvesant and Brooklyn by providing these spaces for those who need it. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to.
Thank you so much, Pastor Simpson. We really appreciate that. For anyone else who might want to ask questions, you can either put them in the Q&A box or you can be unmuted as well. If you don't have questions at this time, which is absolutely fine, you can always reach out to us at NYLOP@LISC.org. The email is on the screen. And we will be sure to answer any questions that come our way. If you'd like to reach out to us directly, this is the team, and please send an email to our housing director, Ms. Monica Dean. You can reach me, Senior Program Officer, or you can also reach out to Jimmy at Sincere if you have specific questions. And with that, we want to thank you guys very much for joining us today. We wish you a good rest of your Monday. Have a great one.